Welcome to this model. In this model, we're gonna speak about defibrillators. The heart is able to perform its important pumping function only through precisely synchronized action of the heart muscle fibers. The rapid spread of action potentials over the surface of the atria causes these two chambers of the heart to contract together and pump blood through the two atrioventricular valves into the ventricles. After a critical time delay, the powerful ventricular muscles are synchronously activated to pump blood through the pulmonary and systematic circulatory system. A condition in which this necessary synchronism is lost is known as fibrillation. During fibrillation, the normal rhythmic contractions of either the atria or the ventricles are replaced by rapid irregular twitching of the muscular valve. Fibrillation of the atrial muscles are called atrial fibrillation, and fibrillation of the ventricles is known as the ventricular fibrillation. Under the conditions of atrial fibrillation, the ventricles can still function normally, but they respond with an irregular rhythm of non-synchronized bombardment of electrical stimulation from the fibrillating area. And since most of the blood flow into the ventricles occur before atrial contraction, there is still blood for the ventricles to pump. Thus, even with atrial fibrillation, circulation is still maintained, although not as efficiently. The sensation produced, however, by the fibrillating atria and irregular ventriculation action can be quite traumatic for the patient. Ventricular fibrillation is far more dangerous, for under this condition, the ventricles are unable to pump blood. If the fibrillation is not corrected, death will usually occur within few minutes. Unfortunately, fibrillation once begun is not self-correcting. Hence, a patient susceptible to ventricular fibrillation must be watched continuously so that the medical staff can respond immediately if an emergency occurs. This is one of the reasons for cardiac monitoring. And although mechanical methods like heart massage for defibrillating patients have been tried over the years, the most successful method of defibrillation is the application of an electrical shock, particularly to the area of the heart. If sufficient current to stimulate all musculature of the heart simultaneously is applied for a brief period and then released, all the heart muscle fibers enter the refractory period together, after which normal heart actions may resume. So this discovery of this phenomena led to the rather widespread use of defibrillation by applying a brief burst of 60 Hz AC at an intensity of around 6 amps to the chest of the patient through appropriate electrodes. So the application of electrical shock to synchronize the heart is sometimes called counter shock, and if the patient doesn't respond, the burst is repeated until defibrillation occurs. So the method of counter shock was known as SC defibrillation. So a defibrillator is an electronic device that creates a sustained myocardial depolarization of patient's heart in order to stop ventricular fibrillation or atrial fibrillation. And there are many types of defibrillators called AC defibrillator, DC defibrillator, synchronized DC defibrillator, square pulse defibrillator, double square pulse defibrillator, and biphasic defibrillator. And in this AC defibrillator, the most successful method of defibrillation is the application of electric shock to the area of the patient. And this AC defibrillation will be having some disadvantages. So that is successive attempts to correct ventricular fibrillation are often required. AC defibrillation cannot be successfully used to correct atrial defibrillation. In fact, attempts to correct atrial fibrillation by this method often result in more serious ventricular fibrillation. So AC defibrillation is no longer used. This diagram shows the circuit of AC defibrillation, and an electronic timer circuit will be connected to the primary of the transducer or transformer. The timer connects the output of the electrodes for a preset time. The timing device may be simple capacitor and resistor network, which is triggered by push button switch. So the duration of the shock may vary from 0.1 to 1 second depending upon the voltage to be applied. For safety, the secondary coil of transformer should be isolated from earth so that there is any shock risk to anyone. So for external defibrillation, the voltages are in the range from 250 to 750 volt. For internal defibrillation, the voltage is from 60 to 250 volt. External defibrillation requires large current for the simultaneous contraction of the heart muscle fiber. This current also results in occasional burning of the skin under the electrodes. Further, it produces atrial fibrillation while arresting ventricular fibrillation. So, about 1960, a number of experiments began working with the direct current defibrillation. Various schemes and waveforms were tried until in late 1962. Bernard Lown of Harvard School of Public Health and Peter Bent Brigham Hospital developed a new method of DC defibrillation that has found common use today. In this method, a capacitor is charged to a DC voltage, high DC voltage, and then rapidly discharged through electrodes across the chest of the patient. It was found that the DC defibrillation is not only more successful than AC method in correcting ventricular fibrillation, but it can also be used successfully for correcting atrial fibrillation and other types of arrhythmias. The DC method requires fewer repetitions and is likely to harm the patient. And DC defibrillator would not produce undesirable side effects at the same time. It produces normal heartbeat effectively. Ventricular fibrillation is terminated by passing a high energy shock through discharging a capacitor to exposed heart or chest of the patient. So this diagram shows the circuit of DC defibrillation, and depending upon the defibrillator energy setting, the amount of electrical energy discharged by the capacitor may range between 100 and 400 watts per second or joules. The duration of the effective portion of the discharge is approximately 5 milliseconds, and the energy delivered is represented by the typical waveform, and that is, I can see in this following slides. As you can see in the following slides, it can be seen that the peak value of the current is nearly 20 amps and that wave is essentially monophasic, since most of its excursion is about the baseline. An inductor in the defibrillator is used to shape the wave in order to eliminate a sharp, undesirable spike that would otherwise occur at the beginning of the discharge. So even with the DC defibrillation, there is a danger of damage to the myocardium and the chest walls because the peak voltages as high as 6000 volt may be used. To reduce this risk, some defibrillators produce dual peak waveforms of longer duration at a much lower voltage. When this type of waveform is used, effective defibrillation can be achieved in adults with the lower levels of delivered energy between 50 to 200 watts second. So a variable auto transformer T1 forms the primary of the high voltage transformer T2, and the output voltage of the transformer T2 is rectified by a diode rectifier and is connected to a vacuum tube high voltage changeover switch. So in position 1, the switch is connected to one end of the fill capacitor. In this position, the capacitor charges to voltage set by the positioning of the auto transformer. During the delivery of the shock to the patient, a push button switch is mounted on handle of the electrodes operator, and the high voltage switch changes to position 2 and the capacitor is now discharged across the heart through electrodes. So an inductor L is placed in one of the electrode leads so that the discharge from the capacitor is slowed down by the induced counter voltage. The shape of the waveform that appears across the electrodes will depend upon the value of the capacitor and inductor, and the amplitude depends upon the discharge resistance. For internal defibrillation, 100 joules of energy is required, whereas for external defibrillation, 400 joules are required. The discharging duration is from 5 millisecond to 10 millisecond. And next, let us discuss about a dual peak DC defibrillator. The passage of high current may damage the myocardium and the chest wall. So to reduce the risk, some defibrillators produce dual peak waveform. This keeps the stimulus at peak for longer duration. And this effective defibrillation at the desirable lower voltage level is possible with a truncated waveform also. So this diagram shows the circuit of dual peak DC defibrillator. Some energy can be applied to the heart with low current level. Such defibrillators are called dual peak defibrillators or delay line defibrillators or capacitor discharge DC defibrillators. So this truncated defibrillator is used to get the desirable low voltage range. In this type, the capacitor discharge is adjusted so that the effective defibrillation is obtained at the desired voltage level. The voltage level of the wave is almost constant, but its duration is extended to obtain the required energy. The amplitude of this waveform is relatively constant. Okay, to properly deliver the large current discharge applied to the skin, large electrodes are used, and these electrodes are called paddles. They have metal disc and that usually measure from 8 to 10 centimeter in diameter for external use. For internal use or for use on infants, smaller paddles are applied. So this diagram shows the waveform of a truncated defibrillator, and conductive jelly or a saline soaked gauze pad is applied between each paddle surface and the skin to prevent burning. However, if conductive jelly is applied to the paddles prior to the electrode placement, care must be taken that when the paddles are applied, the jelly doesn't accidentally form a conductive bridge between the paddles. If it does, the defibrillation attempt may not be successful. With the air of the preceding conductive materials, care must be taken that they will not dry out with repeated discharge. To protect a person from applying the electrodes from accidental electrical shock, special insulated handles are provided. A thumb switch located in one of the handles is generally used to discharge the defibrillator when the paddles are properly positioned. This device prevents the patient or someone else from receiving a shock prematurely. In earlier equipment, a foot switch was used. The possibility of someone accidentally stepping on the foot switch in the excitement of emergency before the paddles are in place make the thumb switches in the handle preferable. Thank you.